Let's have a big round of applause for the speaker of today.
Let me introduce myself. I'm Ajay Gupta, co-founder and CEO of Raybiztech Technologies, incorporated in 2009. We are 200 strong associates worldwide at 4 locations, headquartered in Hyderabad, and we are at US, Australia, and Canada. To start, AI on cloud. Before moving on to the cloud services, I would just talk about how do you introduce an AI to the industry? Because everybody is talking about AI, but everybody are not sure how to start into AI, and industry is investing and they're wasting a lot of money into it. That is purely, again, coming from the consultant like us who advise them. So it's our responsibility that we advise right to the industry. How do we start? Okay, I just spoke about our company. So an organization or an entity is a very complex. So it talks about customers, it talks about the suppliers, competitors, regulators, and partners, external elements of an industry. So that is one part of a business. And the second part is the elements are, we have the strategy, we have vision, risk, decisions, prioritization, metrics, and governance. So these are the internal part of any business. And the third part, we talk about the organizational elements. So when we talk about the organizational elements, we are talking about the process, channels, people and knowledge, hardware, software, departments. And the other part is the decision makers. The decision makers are the intangible elements of the company. So that is decision makers, culture, and the brand and the marketing. These are the intangible elements of any industry. Now, where do I introduce an AI? Looking at this all complexity, the AI has to be introduced into the company. So how does a starter company should be introduced to the AI? So assuming that I'm talking about the industry experience, what industries are doing. So before introducing the AI, we have to focus on our competitive advantage. For example, we are talking about the customer intimacy, where the Four Seasons have started focusing. They have empowered their employees to take up the decisions when it comes to the customer experience. And then I'm talking about the Walmart. They're talking about the operational excellence. Now that can be from the delivery to the supply chain. So any cost saved on those particular part can be moved to their customers. So indirectly they are benefiting the customers. Third company is Apple. So Apple talks about the quality, product quality. So they introduce a lot of products into industry. That is where the differentiation Apple talks about. And the fourth is the IBM. IBM focuses on their marketing. Using the marketing, they talk about the new technologies or the services in the industry. That helps them to actually market their own products and services to the industry leaders. Now that is onto the strategy. Now as an AI, when I want to implement into these industries, they have to talk about the strategy, their competitive advantage into the industry. So assume that if Four Seasons want to improve their customer experience, they may build a robot which can actually automatically do a check-in to their customers, guide them to their rooms, and show their rooms when they check into the hotel. And then we are talking about the process where the Walmart is into. So they are talking about excellence in the supply chain. Any cost saving on the supply chain is passed to their customers. And then we are talking about the Apple. Apple talked about product excellence. So any AI implementation on the Apple side, they may talk about product innovation. They will invest more on the product innovation so that they can make a differentiation into the market. And the fourth is the IBM. IBM would talk about the, sharpening their marketing things so that they can promote their products and services. So if you see every industry, what we are talking about, these 4 companies, they have actually focused on their strategy, they have focused on their competitive advantage, and they have started investing into the AI. So in spite of the recommendation as industries, when we are talking to any industry, we have to first talk about what is your focus, where do you want to make a difference in the market. Otherwise, we are just doing AI randomly, and we are wasting the money of the company. So as industry specialists, we are here to recommend them where do they need to start. Now that we have spoken about the AI, now we are moving on to the cloud. Now, I'm sure people are aware of the cloud, and there are a lot of significant advantages of the cloud when we are speaking. So AI on a cloud is very, very beneficial to the industry. So we are talking about the organizational flexibility. We're talking about organizational efficiency and organizational strategic value. So organizational flexibility, when it starts, I'm talking about the scalability. Now, assuming that an industry like Amazon is running its services onto the cloud, and based on the number of hits what they are getting, they have to map their load onto the server. Otherwise, they're not able to serve that 2 seconds of experience to the client. So that is very easy for them to scale on the cloud without worrying about the hardware what they are going to ramp up. So it's very easy on the cloud to scale up. The second part, we are talking about the storage options. Based on the security aspects or the industry need, the storage can be taken on the cloud and on-prem. So we'll talk about the more options of that when it comes to security, because financial domains generally don't move everything onto the cloud. They go onto the hybrid model where they want to put some of the data onto the cloud and some of the data they want to put on-prem. Control devices. Now when control devices come into picture is, we have 3 different parts. So how do you want to give in the organization, how do you want to give the permissions? It can be based on the SaaS based, software as a service. We can speak about PaaS, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So it's a choice of an organization before they start giving permissions to their users. And then we are talking about tool selection. Today, cloud gives a lot of APIs which are available from the top 3 guys, you can say, from Microsoft, from Amazon, and Google. They give a lot of APIs which are available. Using those APIs, I can build up the tools for my own needs. So that will help me to go to market faster than the normal guys, because if I'm starting from the scratch, it takes a lot of time. So rather than reinventing things, I'm starting to use the existing APIs which are available. And then security features. Now a lot of encryption is available already on the cloud, and then API keys are there. But again, it depends on the organizational needs. If I'm coming from a BFSI, if I'm coming from a healthcare, they may restrict the data. They will tell, okay, I don't want to move everything to the cloud because that data is very important to me. So that's where the hybrid model comes into picture, where the data is divided across the cloud or the on-prem. And now I'm talking about organizational efficiency. Accessibility. If I have my applications on the cloud, it's easy to access anywhere. I can give permissions to any users. People can work across the globe. It's easy for me. Speed to market tool. How fast I can deliver my product. Today, if I start building the product from the scratch, today's business is very, very fast or very dynamic. Industry does not wait for 2 years to come out with a product. So that is where we talk about go-to-market strategy. How fast can I go in next 1 hour? Can I go in next 2 months? Rather than waiting for 2 years. Data security. Now we have disaster recovery which is in place where they do it manually. I have a hardware sitting in my office. I may be having one in US, one in Australia, trying to see that if in case my data corrupts or my system goes down, my data is secured. So with the cloud, it's very easy. I don't require to maintain those hardwares. I don't require to maintain those backup and recovers because I can just automate using the cloud. Saving on equipment. Now, the industry wants to start on the cloud. We talk about different packages. Now, installing those all packages onto a box itself may take a month. And then making sure, okay, testing, okay, I have installed all the packages, everything is fine. Now I am ready to start with my development. Now, there's a lot of time. Now, if I'm coming to the cloud, the pre-built packages are already installed. I don't require to worry about the software. I don't require to worry about the hardware. I'm good to go. So in next 30 minutes or at the most 1 hour, I subscribe to the different services which are available on the cloud. I'm bang on start my development or focus on my business rather than focusing on my infrastructure. Pay structure. The beauty is that you're starting very small, you pay very less. Now as you're growing your business, then you have different ROIs which needs to be calculated, which takes place in the later on. But to enter into the AI, I can start in a day. And I can pay very less to it rather than buying all those hardwares and I'm not still sure that whether I'll be success or not. So organization strategic value, streamlining work. So we just spoke about people working from the different places and everybody is working on the same level of equipments. They are sure that they have the same accessibilities. They are not differing anything. That is all the common platform what people are using. Regular updates. Now if I'm maintaining my hardware, I need to start managing my updates on my softwares. I need to make sure that I'm running on the latest version, otherwise I'm falling behind. Now for that, I need to have a guy, make sure that that guy is running the backups very regularly. And we are also not sure whether those backups will work or not. So if I'm using the regular updates of the cloud, I'm 95% to 98% risk-free. And it's very automatic. Collaboration. Accessing applications across the globes are, it's very easy. So I can collaborate on the same platform with different users across the globe. And then we have competitive edge. How fast can I enter the industry with my product? I have APIs available. I know what APIs I'm going to use. Using those APIs, I start building my product. So that's how fast I can go to the market. So that talks about the competitive advantage what I have when I start with the cloud services. So we are talking about the infrastructure and workloads, where we are talking about cloud benefits. I spoke some of the cloud benefits already in my previous slide. So it's more moving from the same thing to this particular slide where we're talking infrastructure and workloads. Today, when I want to start AI on the cloud, the companies ask for the ROI. I invest a lot in my infrastructure. I invest a lot on my software. How much I'm paying before even starting my practice. But if I go through cloud, I'm very clear that I'm paying very minimal. I'm paying for what I'm going to use. So it's very easy for me to move on to the cloud. SaaS and cloud dev environments. It is pay as you go. So assuming that I may require 10 different softwares, so I don't require to buy 10 different softwares and then start my development. It's easy. I just subscribe on the cloud because there are pre-built packages available on the cloud, where from the Amazon or from the Azure, Google. I'm sorry. Yeah, thanks. And then speed and productivity. Speed and productivity is the same thing. How fast I can enter the market. The ROIs again are calculated Today, if I want to go to the product, the base structure is already available for me. I don't require to build it. I have APIs available based on my competitive decisions or the approach into my market or my based on my organizational focus. I will take up those particular APIs and start building my application. Risk exposure. What happens? I have taken all my hardware, I have taken all my software, and it breaks down. So it's a very high risk. And after 12 months, if I take a ROI and I go to the market and my product fails, so my entire investment goes waste. But I start with my cloud. I'm investing very minimal. It's easy for me to just switch off if I don't want to continue. But if I have my hardware is in place or my software in place, it's a completely dead investment because those I don't make any money out once I resell them. So it's very easy to move onto the cloud. So these are the different platforms we are talking about. I just spoke about the services like software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So when we talk about the services available, these are the pre-built services which are available from different service providers like cloud, Amazon, or Azure. So using these APIs, most of the guys are building their products, where we have the vision, speech languages, translations, video intelligence. So most of the guys have started like chatbot. People are using these APIs to build the chatbot based on those APIs. So they're not reinventing anything which the API is already available. Platform. Now these are the Amazon SageMaker, MS Azure, Google, IBM. So these are all providing the platform with the softwares available and the subscriptions available. So I don't require to buy anything from the outside. I just need to go take up my plan on the cloud, subscribe to it, and I can start. So it is as good as starting in a day with all subscriptions in place. And then we have infrastructure. So when I'm doing a huge computing, because there's a lot of data, it requires a lot of power. The system requires a lot of power to process the huge data. We are talking about even the image processing. If I do a image processing, the CPU is not enough. We are talking about the TPUs. So that is where the Google is actually, the TPU is only provided by Google. You will not have those particular kind of power available with even Azure and the Amazon. So that is where Google is actually ahead in the game in terms of the infrastructure. Hybrid model, on-premise, and on cloud. So everything cannot go on cloud. So I just segregated into, these services are already available like CapEx and OpEx if you do a comparison. Setup is very easy for me. Stacks are already available of different softwares. I don't require to, buy different software from different guys. My disaster recovery is in place. I am not worried about the data loss. I'm not worried about the downtimes because cloud is already giving me a redundant servers, and then mobility. My teams are across the globe, can access the system, they can work all collaboratively. So that's on the cloud, it's good. Now we are talking about the data security. That is where on-premise, hybrid and data gravity. The security and the data gravity. Now, I'm running a BFSI, there are a lot of, like for example, HSBC, or these guys are not exposing the entire data onto the cloud. They are very specific. They want the data on-prem. And that is where hybrid was not too good in probably till last year. So now the service providers started focusing more on the hybrid model because there are a lot of industries are demanding for the hybrid model where they don't want to put entire data into the cloud. And then we have hybrid cloud. Now they are using best of the cloud and the on-prem so that they can give a very good, the ROI is very good for them. The data is secured based on the organizational needs. On to the cloud adaptation, what I'm going to just show this, how the cloud was adapted in 2017 to 2021, what is the projections. So it's more of a statistical data which I've taken from Gartner, so which I'm sure you'll get it, okay? Yeah, that's it from my side. And you have any questions for me, you can definitely take it up. Thank you guys, and it was nice talking to you.
you.